Checking data into ArcPAD. The session objectives. Understand the necessary steps to check your data back into your GPS-enabled personal geodatabase. Okay, so we've been out in the field, we've collected our data, we're back in the office. What steps do we need to do? You first need to copy your data from your data logger to your computer. Okay? This will include the AXF file. Once you do that, where's your GPS data? It's on the computer. So now you can open up the MXD that contains your GPS or GNSS data in ArcMap. Then you start your editing from your Trimble GPS Analyst toolbar. Then you use the check-in AXF and GPS correct SSF file. You'll browse to where the AXF file is on your computer that you just copied over. And then once you do that, it's going to come in, tell you how many you've added, modified, deleted, etc. And then you go ahead and save your edits from the Trimble GPS Analyst toolbar. All right, so let's go ahead and check in our data. So here, GPS from the field. I'm going to plug it in, and it's going to pop up with with Windows Mobile Device Center because I'm using Windows 7. Okay. Okay, and on my C drive, I created a folder for class called VBooks ArcPAD. And if you notice there's a GPS checkout, I'm actually going to make another folder. And I'm going to call it GPS Check-In. You can have it be the same folder if you'd like to, but this is useful if you have data that you go out and you kind of have like a schema that you take out, blank data, and you want to go out time after time after time and collect data in it, and you're not really updating data. If you make one checkout, you can just continuously copy that new checkout over, and then that data, once it's from your GPS device, you can copy into the checked-in folder each time. Okay, so here is the check-in. All right, my GPS device hooked up with Windows Mobile Device Center. So on my Windows Explorer, I'm going to click on Trimble Geo Explorer. By the way, how did I open this up? You can either go to My Computer if you have that icon, or on your keyboard, you know that little Windows button down there that's kind of near your space bar? If you hold down that Windows button, hold it down, and then just take your finger and tap the letter E once, Windows Explorer pops up. So that's how I opened this up. Okay. Then I'm going to go to my Trimble Geo Explorer. By the way, if I go too fast during this, pause the video, catch up, and then go ahead and unpause the video. Okay. So once your GPS device is hooked up, then you can go open up the little windows in the E, and then you'll be caught up. And now then we're going to go to our hard drive on here. If you have XP, it'll just say Windows Mobile Device Center. And then here's My Documents. And here is the folder. We're going to right-click and copy. Now we're going to go to our C drive. VBooks ArcPAD. We're going to check this in, and I'm going to right-click and paste. So right-click to copy, and then right-click to paste. And you always want to copy and paste over folders. Don't go into the folders and copy the files. Always copy the folders, and that will save you some trouble, some headache. All right, so once this folder has copied over to our GPS device, the next step is open your MXD that contains your GPS or GNSS data in ArcMap. We saved it under the VBook ArcPADs. Right here is our GPS checkout map. You can either you can click on this to open it up, or if you want to, you can just start up ArcMap from the desktop icon. Takes a couple seconds to open. Have some patience. Maybe more than a couple seconds. It's a big program. It has a lot of things going on in it. On some, whenever you open up ArcMap, it will tell you, it'll give a display and say, hey, you know, what do you want to check out? Here's our GPS checkout map right here. If it wasn't here, I can always hit cancel and go to the open folder and, you know, browse then to where it needs to go. My C drive, vBooks, ArcPAD. Now remember, if you can't see a particular drive, you might have to path to it. Actually, in here you don't have to. If you're adding data, you have to. All right, so here's vBook ArcPAD. Here's the GPS checkout map. Once I do that, my map is going to open. Now I'm not going to have any data in it because we created a blank database. Okay, so here it is. Now what's my next step? Start GPS or GNSS, depending on what version of Trimble GPS Analyst you have. So start it from the Trimble GPS Analyst toolbar. Trimble GPS Analyst, start GNSS editing. Once you do that, notice all the icons light up. They were gray before. Now they're all lit up. The next step, you're going to use the check-in ArcPAD AXF file and GPS correct little icon to bring data in. And it is this last one. If you hover, you'll get tooltips. If you click on this, the check-in ArcPAD dialog box will come up. Now the very first time you do this, you're going to get a message that says that this is not in your toolbox. Do you want to add it? Well, some versions will say, do you want to add it? And if you say yes, it will add it. Other versions, you're actually going to have to go and manually add the toolbox. I'm going to hit cancel here and show you how to manually add the toolbox. Go ahead and open up your Arc Toolbox window. It's the icon that's up near the top of your, the main toolbar up there. It's to the right of your space bar, a couple icons. I guess 5 icons over, little red toolbox. Once you click on that, your toolbox will pop open. Might take a couple seconds. All right. Then what you can do is you can come over into any white area in your toolbox, right click and say Add Toolbox. All right, you're going to browse to the C drive. Now pause the video if I go too quickly. Then you're going to go down to Program Files. Now if you have 64-bit operating system, you're going to go to Programs x86. If you have just a 32-bit, you'll just see Program Files. Then you're going to scroll on down until you see Trimble. GPS Analyst, Arc Toolbox, Toolboxes, and then here's the tools. Click on this and say Open, and it will load into your toolbox so you will be able to use your check-in. I already have it in here, so I'm going to say Cancel. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click this again. So here's my check-in ArcPAD AXF file and GPS correct SSF file. I now need to go and browse to the file that I copied from my GPS device to my computer. Up here at the top is a little browse folder. Okay, so here it is. It's on my C drive, vBooks ArcPAD, GPS check-in. Here's the folder, and here is the AXF. Click on it, say Open. It's going to look through your data, see what all you did. So here I did 2 area generics, 3 light poles, a point generic, and 3 sidewalks. So once I say, yep, that's what I did, sounds good, go ahead and say OK. And then it's actually going to take your data and from the AXF and put it into your geodatabase. Now you're in an editing session. If you make a change to the geodatabase while you're in an editing session, it's not going to keep the changes unless you say Save Edits. So the first thing I do after I bring my data in is I Save Edits. Okay, it's still working, it's checking in the data. Generally, the longer it takes, the better. If it zips right through it, that means it probably didn't find any data. So it's checking in our data. And so it brought in 202 positions. It's figuring everything out, mashed it all up, and here it is. So I can go ahead and say Close. Okay, the next step that you want to do is you want to save your edits. All right, so right here, tap on this, Save Edits. Now if you notice, I randomly zoomed into 500. I can go ahead and right click. I'm going to go right click on Area Generic and say Zoom to Layer, and that's going to bring me closer into my data. Okay, I can now zoom out a little bit more. So here is the data that I collected today out in the field. Light poles. Here's the information. All right, let's save edits. Tap on this, save edits if you haven't done it already. Make sure you do that, very important step. Once you've done that, you can go ahead if you'd like to and save your MXD. And what this does is it does not save data, it just saves what you're zoomed into. So I'm going to go ahead and say save edits to save my MXD, so next time I open it, I'll be zoomed into my data. If I'd like to, if I'm done right now checking in data, I can go ahead and stop GNSS editing. And once I do that, the icons will be grayed out. I'm pretty much done. I can close on out. My data is in there. Okay. So let's go ahead and recap our session objectives. So understand the necessary steps to check your data into your GPS-enabled personal geodatabase.